Hi, this is Coaching Your Life with TaNelle and Stef and TaNelle. I am TaNelle Farnsworth, and I help women strengthen their relationships with themselves and the people they love the most.
Hi, I'm Stef TaNelle. I am a health and life coach that helps women who are uncomfortable in their bodies and in their skin make healthier choices for themselves so they feel amazing and alive.
Very good. Today, Steph and I both have been reading a book. So today we wanted to discuss the book that we've been reading and some points that we loved about it. So the book is called Love Like You've Never Been Hurt by Jentezen, correct? Jentezen Franklin is how you say his name. It's spelled a little bit different, but
Yep.
I think it is Jentezen. Anyways, he is a pastor. I loved everything about this book. It's very inspiring for me to become a better human. So there's some things that I wanted to keynote on. If you want to say something before I keynote on those things, and
I will say that this is not a book that I would have picked up on my own. And I kind of thought I was going to be, I don't know the right way to say it, but in my mind, I was reading it because you were reading it. Mm-hmm. And I got a lot more out of it than I thought I would, I guess is my point. I was not reading it because I felt like I needed it. I was reading it because of you. And I'm glad that I did. It definitely was I'm making it sound like it was negative. It wasn't. I was kind of like, all right, whatever. And then I was really happy that I read it.
Yeah, I feel like, so my mom actually told me I should read it. So I was like, sure, sure. I felt the same way. But then once I dove into it, I was like, you know what, this is exactly what I needed, because, I don't know, a lot of people don't know this about me. Maybe they do. But anyways, I am divorced, and my first husband cheated on me. And so that was like a huge thing, because like I had to go through a lot with just that one choice that he made. So like this book was very good for me to read, and a lot of positive things have come about it for me, trying to better my relationship with God, relationship with my ex, and a relationship with my kids, because they all obviously they all intertwine, but for me it was really good, because I honestly don't think, I never thought about it before, but he mentions a point in there. He says, sometimes we think that we have forgiven somebody, but we haven't. And when he wrote this, I was like, I forgave him, sure, whatever. But he goes on, he said, here is a clue. He says, if we still feel better when you hear that person's name, or just can't stop or just can't stop thinking about what's happened, you have more work to do. Yeah. So I found that very interesting, because people all the time ask me how I'm doing, or they'll ask me about my relationship with him, and like what's going on, and I think it's great, because I'm glad people ask me. Sometimes I used to hate it, but I am glad, because
that's growth right there.
Yeah, like I used to hate when people asked me how I was doing, because that meant I actually had to respond to them and come up with a response but I didn't like people knowing my business, I guess. So my response was like, I'm good. And it covered up a lot of what I was really feeling because I wasn't really good. But I think it was great because I love this because I don't think I really truly forgave my ex for what had happened. And this book has opened up opportunities for me to be a better person. So I wrote a note to him telling him how thankful I was for him, that he's taken the kids more, and like I was thankful that he like always pays his child support, and that just like opening the door for that has made our relationship better. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's still work in progress. So that's something I wanted to keynote on, is if you are still feeling a little bit bitter towards somebody, or you can't stop thinking about them, or can't stop thinking about what had happened, and you have a little bit more work to do in the forgiveness department. And he says some things that like I find interesting is it's never wrong to love. It's never wrong to love. And it's so true. Yep. And so in our world today, I feel like we are a judgmental, stereotyping community or world that just we live in. And I think that it's hard to get out of that. And if we just loved one another and embraced each other's differences, what a world we'd have. I just love it.
So, I mean, as you were talking, I had a lot of thoughts, and I won't go back on all of them, but he actually says what matters most in life is relationships. And do you want to be right, or do you want to be reconciled? And one of the other things he touches on a few different times in the book is you holding on to the anger and the pain is not affecting the person that hurt you in any way. They probably are past it or don't even know or care. And so part of that hurts more, right? How can they not care that they hurt me? But every time you think about it and then talk about it again and prod that hurt a little bit more, it's only hurting you. So like to acknowledge it, and to, whether you journal on it, whether you pray on it, whether you, I mean, not to completely forget it, but to acknowledge that it happened and then move on, I thought was pretty powerful.
Right. There's actually, he talks about a research. I'm going to find it because I think I have it marked on here as one of the key things. Oh yeah, here it is. So he says in a research that he did, that not he did, but a research that was done, he says, research has consistently shown links between the mind and the body. What we think about manifests physically. According to the Mayo Clinic, holding a grudge has a negative effect on the cardiovascular and nervous system. One study has shown that people who thought about an offense regularly experienced high blood pressure, elevated heart rates, and increased muscle tensions. On the contrary, here is what you get when you forgive: healthier relationships, greater spiritual and psychological well-being, less anxiety, lower blood pressure, fewer symptoms of depression, a stronger immune system, and improved heart health. Seems like a great deal, right? It's a no-brainer.
It is. Well, and it's also one of the things we teach, right? Like, you can manifest things. So take the time to bring yourself down, find a stress-free place in yourself,
right?
Whether it's walking into a meeting or eating or into an environment where you get to spend with somebody that stresses you. Make it what you want it. Don't make it how you think it needs to be.
Right. No, I 100% agree. I feel like a couple months ago, and I was doing the building relationships with people. Like I want to do that challenge again because I think me working on relationships was huge, because I feel like when you're working on relationships and you're working on things that will make you a better person, make you better human, then things just kind of like line up the way you need them to. And it feels good. It feels good to like love people instead of trying to judge them or think bad about them.
Right. Well, I think another thing he mentions a couple times is the judging is really some sort of fear in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an interesting way to think about it, right? Like, if I can let go of what they've done, then maybe I'm not afraid of reliving it or whatever. And he also, another thing he does in the book, two things, is he talks about his own trials in life, which I think acknowledging that we are all human and we all have mistakes, and there's crap happening in everybody's life. Nobody's life is perfect, no matter what their social media feed is or how they present themselves at church, at the mall, when they come to your house for game night. Like, everybody's life has crap behind it. You just maybe are not privy to all of it, but he definitely shares his, and I respect that a lot. To ignore life is crappy, it means crappy things are happening in life.
Right. And that is everyone's life, right? It's not just, I mean, like for him to say, you know, like to say that he should be a great example, because like he's a pastor and he should be able to be the greatest example. But I feel like we are all human. We all make mistakes. Like there's another point that he said. I loved it, what he said. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see. Sorry. Let me see if I can. To the essence, he was talking to a woman, and the woman was like, he's hurt me so much or whatever. And he acknowledged that, yes, he did hurt you, but he said something about like, but who are you? Like, have you hurt anybody before? Have you ever done anything wrong? Like, you're human too. Like, you have to accept that they've hurt you, because you've hurt people too. Like, and you might not realize it, but every person has and will most likely hurt somebody in some form of way. And it's not intentional maybe, but sometimes it is.
Right. Well, the other thing he talks about in forgiveness is when you're forgiving somebody, it doesn't mean you're forgetting what they've done to you.
Right.
And he talks a lot about, loving like you've never been hurt. Yes. And acknowledging that letting go of a relationship should not be an option, but allowing yourself to get hurt again should not be an option either. So you find how to fit that person into your life, whether it's from a distance. Yes. Whether it's from a distance and you talk on the phone rather than having them in your home, or whether it's having them in your home and setting boundaries verbally. This is not allowed in my home. That forgetting is not what forgiving is. And I appreciated that.
Yeah, it's very true, because like, what did God say? Like, forgive 7 times 70, which is like what, 400 and something times. And I feel like just always forgive, right? Like, don't count how many times you've had to forgive that person, but just love and to forgive always. But don't forget that they hurt you. I mean, set your boundaries where you need to set them, and then move on from there.
What did you think about that tattoo part?
I found it really interesting, because at first he said, I'm never going to get a tattoo. And then his daughters
Right.
ended up getting a tattoo. And he's like, my wife and I might go get a tattoo because, like that. I mean, they have such great standards and such great values and beliefs that, like no smoking and no drinking. And this has been a family, like we've been taught, like it's been like this for generations, and they're, which I find, like a lot of his beliefs and his values are the same as mine. We're not necessarily the same religion, but we are both Christian. And like I loved everything he said about it. But like I don't know. I think he's a great man. Just from
I just want to touch on, for people that haven't read the book, the tattoo was their daughter, right? One of their daughters or two?
I think two of their daughters. Well, I can't remember. I think one got a tattoo and the other one went with her. I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
And it was the 7 times 70, right?
Yeah, the tattoo.
It was 7 times 70?
Yeah, on their
of
wrist.
How you should forgive.
Yes.
Right. So I thought that was kind of an interesting, like a reminder when you're getting hurt or when you're feeling hurt, it's right there. Remember, just forgive.
Right.
I thought that was
I did love that. Something else I wanted to share really fast was when I had mentioned earlier to always love. There was this story I just read on social media about a single dad. He doesn't get his kids all the time anyways. People up, like he lived in an apartment, so the people upstairs above him were really loud all the time. Like in the day they were loud, at night, like way late at night, like at 12 at night even. And it sounded like, like a parade was going on upstairs, like all the time. And like 4 months had gone along, and he finally, like he had his son over one night, and it was like midnight, like late. And finally he was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm sick and tired of hearing this. So he took a broom and was bumping, like he hadn't met his neighbors yet, like after 4 months. So every time he would hear something in a different room, he would hit the ceiling. Anyways, a little while later, like 10 minutes later, he hears a knock on his door, and he answers it, and two really tired parents are at the door, and they apologize to him, and sorry that we haven't come down earlier. We have an autistic son, and he throws himself on the ground. Doesn't matter. Like he'd rather, he likes harder things. If you try to put him on something soft, he just can't. He won't fall asleep. He's and for him to judge, like this is ridiculous that they're always up, they're always making so much noise, and then to have that happen to him, he said he had so much love. But don't worry about the noise. It's totally fine. And just having that small little experience helped him realize, like, I need to stop judging people because you don't ever know what's going on in someone's life. So
no. Everybody is coming with something else in their life.
Yeah.
So important to remember. So important.
Yeah. But is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
I just want to reiterate that this was not a book I would have picked up, that I don't feel like I needed it, if that makes sense. Like I didn't feel, which is probably not true at all, but that I had such huge hurts, which is not true. But I'm really glad that I read it. I'm really glad. It definitely was impactful for me, and I would recommend it.
Yeah, I feel like it was very, for me, having to have, it talks about so many different aspects of life, like the cheater, or the gay son, or the, lesbian daughter, or, it talks about so many different things that people can hurt you. And it kind of was just, if you have been hurt and you don't know, this is a great book to read because there's so many aspects of it. He doesn't just touch on like one hurt, you know, he talks about many hurts, which I think is good.
Right.
So
yes, I agree. He talks about parents hurting their children and children hurting their parents and spouses hurting each other. Yes, he touches on all aspects of pain and love, and why it's just better to love.
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, if you have extra spare time, this is a great read and we recommend it.
And I will say you can listen to it on Hoopla. Hoopla is an app that you just need a library card for. And did I stall?
Yeah, but I got it.
It came up and said okay.
So Steph is talking about an app called Hoopla. Go ahead. And the app, you have to have a library card, and that's.
So the app Hoopla is great.
Yes. So you just have to punch in your library card number, and if you have a PIN, then type in your PIN. If you don't have a PIN, I think it just says type in pardon or something like that. But it's free if you have a library card.
Yep.
So
you can get books to read.
Yeah. There's audio. This was an audio, which was super nice. Like I read it, and then I didn't finish quite all the way, and I was able to finish the last hour on the audio, which was super nice. So
perfect.
But there are ebooks as well. Not all of them are audio. And they actually have music, because I downloaded the new Frozen soundtrack. And we were listening.
We're giving Hoopla business.
Yeah. So it was great. So I love it.
It's a great app. It's a great app. So, and this was a great book. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it with me, TaNelle.
Yeah, we, Steph and I plan on talking about more books in the future when we read them. So we'll be reading a couple more books, and the next book is.
I don't know if this is the next one, but we're both reading this one right now.
Yeah, we are.
So maybe this will be the next one.
Yeah.
I'm not very far into it.
I haven't.
I've got my highlighter and everything in there.
I haven't started yet, so no worries. But anyways, I hope you guys all have a good day and happy January.
Yay! Stay warm.
Yeah, stay warm.